Tracy played We Are Family, because that's what I feel like here. And we talk about this at my clinic. Every eco is like a family reunion, and I'm so honored to be up here. So thank you guys for taking the time to listen to what I have to say, and I hope that I will provide some things that offer you some tools, or at least something that you can bring back to your practices. So before I start talking about unprocessed emotions clogging your drainage funnel, I'd love to see a show of hands of people that regularly use emotional clearing techniques in their practice, with the majority of the people. Oh, awesome, lots of hands. Very cool. So hopefully after this talk, many more of you will actually be able to use some emotional, help your clients and patients process emotions that could be clogging their drainage funnel. Before we move on I created a pre-talk that was recorded. It was sent out via email, but it's in your resources. It's in that email that came out this morning. So if you click on the resources for day 3, you can watch that video if you're interested in how the body stores emotions. So the body stores the emotions in certain areas, and it creates resistance in the flow. So we're a flow system, and when we get clogged emotions, unprocessed emotions, it slows down that flow. So your body can't bring in good energy, good information, and can't release toxins as efficiently. It's only 17 minutes. So I brought this up because a lot of people equate holistic medicine with natural medicine, or alternative medicine, or integrative medicine, or even naturopathic medicine. And holistic medicine is so much more than that, and I really want to get this across. So when I was doing a little research for this, I actually went to trusty Google, because I wanted to know what the truth was, and typed in functional medicine. And I put functional medicine here because I know that a lot of people are functional medicine practitioners here. If you haven't looked at the Wikipedia definition for functional medicine and you want to laugh, I would do that. Don't do it right now, but I would go and look. It is absurd, and I'm sure it's been fact-checked, and the CDC and the FDA and all these other 3-letter agencies have looked at it, but it's actually pretty pitiful and embarrassing. But when you look further, pretty much every website says functional medicine is holistic. And holistic is so much more than just recognizing that there is a mind, body, and a spirit. This is my definition of holistic medicine, and it's growing, and I'll learn more and I'll add to it. But authentic holistic healthcare recognizes and addresses, that's the key, and addresses the importance and interconnectedness of all aspects of health: spiritual, energetic, emotional, mental, physical, and I'm sure there's a lot more. And the interconnectedness of all that is. I think it's amazing, and it tells so much about this interconnectedness that so many of the amazing practitioners and doctors that have spoken before me at this conference have talked about how we're all interconnected. I love that, and we didn't talk about that ahead of time. We just all got the memo somewhere in our energy field. So we've got these biofields, and we're constantly interacting with each other. Everything we feel, everything we think, all the information that we're putting out there, everything we do affects what's around us, and we're affected by everything that is around us. So that's the gift, because like Dr. Hussein said, we can make that choice to change ourselves, and by changing ourselves, we're actually changing everything around us. That's our gift to the world. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some different techniques. You're probably familiar with most of them for emotional release. And then I'm going to apply some emotional clearing or specific emotions to different parts of the drainage funnel and energy production. And then I'll talk about a little handout that I have made for you guys. So, different techniques. I have been, like Tracy said, I've been practicing for 28 years, and this is super, super important to me, and I'm very passionate about it, but I have come to believe in those 28 years doing emotional clearing work that you really need to address 3 things to have success in dealing with helping the body release emotions. First thing is you need to be able to identify those emotions. So that understanding that that emotion is there and what is it. Second one is you need to address those emotions accordingly. And third, you need to give action steps so that the person can change their behaviors and they can make positive changes. And that's really important. I think a lot of people miss that. So if I'm working with someone who says, you've got 3 emotions in your liver and I cleared them and you're good to go, and that's it. Well, that might help me in the short run because it might open up the flow in the liver, but it's not going to help me in the long run. One is I need to know what those emotions are. And I'm not talking about people that have severe trauma. This is just everybody can hold these emotions in. So if somebody has severe trauma, needs to go see a psychotherapist or whatever, that's fine. I'm putting that person aside. I'm just talking about those of us that just want to open up the drainage funnel and be more successful in working with clients. So I need to know that, oh wow, I'm holding anger in my liver. So if I'm holding anger in my liver and I can use a technique to help release that, that's going to open up the flow of the liver. And I may not make conscious changes to my behavior, and I may continually try to hold anger in my liver because I'm from Texas. And we're taught, don't express anger, right? And so my mom always said, Tracy, you gotta stuff it. So stuff it, stuff it, stuff it. I need to learn ways to address that properly. I need to learn ways to work through my anger in a healthy way, in a non-destructive way. So some of the things that you guys might be familiar with, well, the first one is this wonderful emotional support product that hopefully will come back, or something like it, called ME Support. ME Support is a great way to just clear the field. So I was talking about the biofield and how we're picking up on everyone else's emotions. If you're an empath, which many of us are in this room, we'll pick up on people's emotions. Also people that are sick, people that are really low energy people tend to pick up on a lot of emotions because their etheric field is damaged. They just don't have those barriers. So it's almost like having a fog. And I liken it to, living in Houston, and I know a lot of people are from Florida. In the summertime, in August, you walk outside and it's 104 degrees and 200% humidity. Glasses fog up and you can't see. So I don't know what's mine, what's somebody else's. That's what happens with our fields. And something like ME Support, well, there aren't other things like ME Support, but that actually cleans the glasses off so you can really get in deep and see what that person, what is really important to work on with that person. So here are some techniques that are pretty common. We've got tapping, EFT, tons of videos out there for that, very effective in lots of ways. Journaling, essential oils can be really powerful if they're used properly. Emotion code, flower essences, so many flower essences out there. I love flower essences. They're very subtle, but can be very effective. And of course, mind, body, spirit release. So we're going to start with the drainage funnel, and I'm going to talk about energy production and what emotions and limiting beliefs can affect energy production. And then I'm going to go up those first 3 rungs of the drainage funnel. The drainage funnel actually that I use in my clinic has one more rung at the top, and I thought it was great that Dr. J talked about the extracellular matrix. So we've got the fascia and the extracellular matrix up at the top because you can store a lot of emotions in there, and they alluded to that, and Dr. Schaffner did too. So let's start with mitochondrial health. I'm sure you have a lot of patients and clients that feel desperate and hopeless. I don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg, the desperation or the low energy production. But what happens is the body equates the two or connects the two. And so sometimes it's very difficult to get their energy up unless you address those emotions and help them get out of that loop. So you've got those emotions, perfectionism. And I see that a lot with people because, in energy production, because when you are a perfectionist, and we all probably are in our own little ways, a lot of times people are afraid to move forward because they're afraid what they're going to do is not going to be perfect. So giving people the grace to not be perfect is very helpful. Feeling unsupported, feeling unworthy. And this first limiting belief, what I want is unavailable to me, is actually super powerful. And I'm going to take a little side note here, but if you go away from my presentation with one thing, this is what I want you to go away with. That limiting belief, thank you to my student that told me about it a couple of years ago. What I want is unavailable to me. So somebody comes to you and says, I have chronic Lyme. And you parrot back to them, you are a chronic Lyme person. And you write down in their file, chronic Lyme. And they're in a support group, and I'm not dissing support groups, but they're in a support group where everyone talks about how they're chronic Lyme. They're chronic Lyme people. I'm a Lyme person. I'm a chronic Lyme person. That message is being repeated over and over and over again, and the subconscious mind says, oh, I'm a chronic Lyme person. And that becomes the identity. You can do the same thing with symptoms. I'm not saying ignore what the person has. I'm saying don't let them over-identify. Because if you are a chronic Lyme person, what you want, vibrant health, is unavailable to you because you cannot have vibrant health at the same time you are a chronic Lyme person. So change the verbiage, change the way you talk about your clients and your patients, if they're there or elsewhere, like in the next room, because we're all connected. So change it to something like, I'm healing from chronic Lyme, or you are healing from chronic Lyme. All the time, every day, things are getting better and better. The other limiting beliefs are I don't deserve to be healthy, and this is too good for me. So what I did with my students, I actually reached out to them and I said, give me some of your testimonials or some of your case studies, because I get tired of talking about my own, and everybody looks at things from a different perspective. They all come with different tools. So this is a wonderful practitioner, Paula Salas. She works with really complicated cases. So she had a client who had severe mast cell issues. It took her 1 month to work up to 1 Viradkin. That's how sensitive this woman was. She was only on drainage and that 1 Viradkin. So she, of course, you can imagine, was very anxious about detox. She addressed, Paula did, the limiting belief of this is too good for me, and in conjunction with mitochondria, or energy production, and parasites. And this is what passed the next morning. No detox, just this looks like a lot of liver flukes to me.